question that comes up quite a bit is, does the government know what guns I own? How many? What kind? That sort of thing. Well, the answer is a little more confusing than one might think, because yes and no. Well, let's start with when you go buy a gun and you go to the store and you do a background check and you fill out that piece of paper, that documentation stays with the gun store. And all that's really revealed to the FBI is whether it's a long gun, a handgun, or other firearm. Now, that record that stays with the gun store, it stays there. And the only time it will leave there is if the store goes out of business, then all those records are consolidated with the ATF, with their out of business department. And that is literally like the final scene of Raiders Lost Ark, just as far as the eye can see, boxes of documents. So I would say in that case, they still really don't know. I mean, they do, but they don't. Now, if you filled out a background check on the computer, which I've done a few times, what we're learning more recently is even though it's illegal to keep a gun registry, that is being documented digitally with the ATF. Now, this is kind of an issue. I quit doing that, and I recommend you quit doing that as well. But it's not necessarily as like a registry, but it is like a pseudo registry, so to say. Now, if you go in and you buy 2 handguns or more at the same time, what you've committed is a multi-gun purchase, and that will actually be recorded with the ATF, and that is in a registry. So really up until this point, everything we've talked about is they really don't know what kind of guns. They'd have to be investigating you specifically in some detail, and still they probably won't find out barely any of it. They'll know that you probably own a gun or 2, but that's about all they'll know. Now, I want to say that when it comes to tracing guns, here is where the real danger is on how they can know what guns you own, is if for some reason the government decided to ban a certain type of gun. And there are efforts right now to ban most guns. All they have to do is go to the manufacturer of that firearm and get a list of all the distributors that they've sold guns to. And then they go to those distributors and they get a list of all the stores that they sold those guns to. Then they go to all the stores and they get a list of all the people that bought those guns. It's really like a mass reverse trace. That's fairly easy to do, and they do it thousands of times a month. They're very good at it, especially for using an outdated system. They're pretty proficient for using an outdated system. So now that their systems are being updated, if there was an effort to ban certain guns, and there certainly are, but if that came to reality, what you're going to see is a reverse trace of all those guns, and it'll lead straight to you. That's how they will know. So does the government know what kind of guns you own and how many? No, but they could potentially find out if they really wanted, but it would have to go through a reverse trace system. Really to do that, and it'd be more like an aggressive check of the guns themselves, not of the people. They'd be searching for the guns, not the people. If searching for the people, not really. They can't tell what kind of guns you have, especially if you're just doing paper background checks. They're not gonna find out. Any thoughts or insight on that, definitely put that below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. Feel called to support this channel on Patreon. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that stuff in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.